What makes some men instantly respected the moment they walk into a room, while others get ignored as if they don't even exist? Machiavelli believed respect isn't given, it's engineered, and if you don't engineer it, you'll be crushed by those who do. Centuries ago, Machiavelli studied power with ruthless clarity. He showed that in every society, from the courts of Florence to the boardrooms of New York, authority doesn't come from effort alone. It comes from the image you project. Think about it. In America, you might spend weeks preparing for a meeting, only to be cut off mid-sentence by a louder colleague who steals the spotlight. In India, you may be a skilled engineer, but at a family gathering, an uncle still whispers that you're not successful enough to be considered worthy of marriage. The pain of being overlooked is universal, and it cuts deeper than failure itself. This video will give you Machiavelli's blueprint to flip that script, how to stop being disregarded, how to use silence as a weapon, and how to craft an aura of power in work, dating, and life. If you've ever felt overlooked, keep watching. Do you think hard work speaks for itself? Machiavelli would laugh at that belief. He knew long before psychology gave it language that the world doesn't reward raw effort. It rewards perception. Here's the brutal truth. You can be the most disciplined, the most competent, the most reliable man in the room and still be invisible. Why? Because effort locked inside your head doesn't create influence. Power isn't about who you are, it's about who others believe you are. Machiavelli wrote it bluntly. Appearances rule the world, not reality. And yet most men still cling to the illusion. They think if they grind harder, if they sacrifice more weekends, if they quietly outperform their peers, eventually someone will notice. But what actually happens? The spotlight shifts to someone louder, bolder, or simply better at projecting strength. Take the American workplace. A quiet analyst spends weeks perfecting a presentation. His data is flawless, his logic airtight. But in the final meeting, a more confident colleague interrupts, summarizes, and takes credit. The boss remembers the voice, not the labor. Reality lost to perception. Or look at India. A skilled young professional may code faster, solve problems better, and work longer hours. But in the eyes of family or society, his lineage or status markers outweigh his achievements. He is reminded again and again that competence without perception does not move the hierarchy. And yes, it feels unfair, it feels corrupt, but Machiavelli would tell you, stop wishing the world were different. The system has always been this way. Rome rewarded generals not for honesty, but for the triumphs they paraded. Florence admired not the virtuous, but the powerful who could appear untouchable. And today, New York and Mumbai are no different. So where does that leave you? You have two options. Keep clinging to the fantasy that reality alone will save you, and stay invisible. Or accept the hard medicine that perception is the battlefield and learn to dominate it. Imagine a scale: on one side effort, on the other perception. You can pile endless hours, sweat, and sacrifice onto the effort side. Yet a single coin of perception, confidence in your voice, precision in your silence, authority in your presence, tips the balance instantly. That's how power actually moves. So remember this principle, burn it into your mind. Reality versus perception. You are not judged as the man of truth, you are judged as the man of image. If you fail to shape that image, others will do it for you, and they will bury you beneath it. Comment below if you've ever felt invisible, even when you worked harder than everyone else. Because you're not alone, and admitting it is the first step toward change. And this brings us to the second law of Machiavelli's blueprint. If perception rules the world, then you must master how you appear, or be ruled by those who already have. Powerful men don't just step into a room. They set the frame of the room. This is the next law in Machiavelli's blueprint. Frame control. To Machiavelli, the person who defines the stage, the tone, the boundaries, the meaning, already wins half the battle. He wrote that rulers succeed not only by force, but by convincing others to play by their rules. The man who dictates the frame dictates the outcome. So what does frame control look like in your life? It's the difference between reacting to events versus shaping them. Most people are trapped inside someone else's frame. They defend, explain, or justify without realizing the conversation was lost the moment they agreed to its terms. Machiavelli would tell you, never let another man define the battlefield. Here are 3 Machiavellian tactics you can use immediately. First, silence as dominance. Weak men scramble to respond instantly, desperate to prove themselves. Powerful men pause. They let silence stretch. Why? Third, set micro-agendas. Before a meeting, you might say casually, let's keep this focus on solutions. Suddenly, the group orbits around your frame. You didn't just attend the meeting, you quietly scripted it. Consider the American networking event. The room is noisy, full of men pitching themselves frantically, but the one who asks a single sharp question, then falls silent, becomes the center of gravity. Or picture an Indian tech team. Arguments swirl, chaos builds until one engineer calmly summarizes the core issue in one sentence. In that instant, the room pivots toward him. He didn't out-talk anyone. He reframed the entire discussion. This is frame control, bending reality by defining its terms. Machiavelli knew this centuries ago. He warned leaders never to fight on enemy ground, but to shape the ground itself. And so your mantra becomes, control the frame or be trapped in someone else's. Imagine a chessboard. The amateur makes many moves, frantic, noisy. The master moves slowly, even sparingly. Yet the entire board bends to his strategy. That's the difference between living inside another man's frame and controlling your own. If you want me to create a deeper dive, a part 2 breaking down advanced frame control tactics, let me know in the comments. But understand this, even frame control has its limits, because the real test of power comes not when you set the stage, but when pressure explodes and every eye in the room waits for your next move. That's where Machiavelli's sharpest weapon is revealed. Machiavelli warned, when the stakes are highest, words betray you. Silence protects you. Think about the moments that truly decide your fate. The salary negotiation where every number matters. The argument where one slip could damage your reputation. The family gathering where one careless defense could lock you into a lower status. In these high-stakes moments, most men panic. They rush to speak, to defend, to explain. And in doing so, they reveal fear. They hand over power. Silence flips the script. Silence does not expose you, it exposes them. It makes the other side restless, uneasy, desperate to fill the void. And in their rush, they reveal their weakness. This is why silence, when weaponized, becomes one of the most Machiavellian tools you will ever wield. Here are 3 tactics you can start using immediately. First, delay before answering. When someone challenges you, count 3 slow seconds before responding. To them, that pause feels endless. It shows you are not rattled, and it forces them to second-guess their own words. Second, answer indirectly. When a loaded question corners you, don't play by their frame. Reframe, redirect. For example, when asked, "Why haven't you achieved X?" you respond with, "The real question is how to achieve Y." And that's where I'm focused. You've just shifted the ground beneath their feet. Third, use silence to force concessions. In negotiation, make your statement, then shut up. Let the other side squirm. The longer you remain silent, the more they will talk themselves into giving you what you want. Picture this in America. A recruiter offers you a number lower than you deserve. This is the best we can do. You don't argue. You let the silence stretch. Seconds pass. The recruiter starts to sweat. Finally, they speak again, this time with a better offer. Or, in India, you sit across from a family who implies you lack the right status for marriage. Instead of defending yourself, you hold their gaze in silence. The room grows heavy. They begin to doubt their own words. Hours later, they soften their stance, realizing you cannot be shaken. In both cases, silence does what words could never do. It unsettles, it pressures, it bends the moment in your favor. So remember this Machiavellian truth. In pressure, silence is not weakness, it's a blade. The man who masters silence doesn't just survive high-stakes moments, he controls them. Have you ever won an argument by saying nothing? Share it below. Now, let's resolve this mountain. What's the ultimate payoff of living Machiavelli's blueprint? Respect isn't luck, it's engineered. We've climbed the mountain together. At the bottom, you felt the sting of being ignored, cut off, dismissed. Then came the painful truth. Talent alone doesn't matter, perception does. From there, you learn to seize the frame, to dictate the terms instead of being trapped by them. And at the peak, you discover the sharpest weapon of all, silence, used with precision, turning pressure into your advantage. This is Machiavelli's blueprint for personal power. And the lesson is clear. In a world that constantly tries to reduce you, your duty is to engineer an aura that cannot be ignored. It's not about arrogance or cruelty. It's about protecting your value in a society that mistakes quiet effort for weakness. Picture it now. You walk into a boardroom. Conversations drop. People wait for your voice. Or, in Mumbai, you sit at a family gathering. This time, nobody dares to question your worth. Your silence speaks louder than their words. You've become untouchable, not because you begged for validation, but because you engineered respect step by step. And here's the ultimate shift. Once you master perception, frame, and silence, you no longer chase respect, you command it. Others sense it. They adjust themselves around you. That is true Machiavellian power, to shape the world's response without ever raising your voice. So I leave you with this challenge. Don't just nod at these ideas, use them. Practice silence tomorrow. Speak with precision instead of excess. Shape the frame in your next conversation. Small acts, repeated, forge the aura of a man no one can overlook. If you've ever been underestimated, comment the word power below, so I know how many of you are ready to reclaim your presence. And subscribe, because in the next video, I'll reveal Machiavelli's secret for making people follow you without even realizing they're doing it. The blueprint is now in your hands. The question is, will you remain ignored, or will you engineer respect and become untouchable?